In all my years, I've never set foot outside the inn. I've never had a reason. But now, this just growth is... There's no future here. The only hope for humanity lies below. But at a reminded of how fortunate I am that I was spared a life in this wasteland. I know that to you, I was kidnapped from that vault. In truth, the Institute rescued me. Both of us, really.
They left me on ice. For 60 years.
They did. And for good reason. I was the perfect candidate. An infant with uncorrupted DNA. But if something were to go wrong, if I died, well, the Institute realized a contingency plan was prudent. Another source of pre-war DNA, preferably related to their primary subject. It only made sense that my parents should fill that role. So you were kept alive and safe within the vault. I'll admit, when I had you released from Vault 111, in all this, to not only do so, but manage to find me, to infiltrate the Institute itself, extraordinary.
You could have let me out decades ago.
Until I became director, I had no idea you were there. And after, there was initially no logical reason to do so. Certainly, it was no longer necessary to keep you suspended. Well, I suppose I wanted to see what would happen. An experiment of sorts. I had no idea what kind of man you were, you see. Would the Commonwealth corrupt you, as it has everything else? Would you even survive? Perhaps most curious to me, would you, after all this time, attempt to find me? And now I know the answer.
This is science to you? It's pathetic, all of it.
I'm sorry you see it that way. Perhaps in time you'll see it differently. Soon, I hope. I hope you'll understand. Everything I've done has been for the future. A future which I hope is not in jeopardy after recent events. Bunker Hill did not go well for us. Would you care to explain what happened?
We got our asses kicked. Does it matter how?
The chances of failing this mission were so astronomically low that yes, it does. Bunker Hill was to cement your place as a valuable asset to the Institute. It will now only raise suspicions. And to see the Brotherhood of Steel involved in this? They had no way of knowing what was going on. I will refrain from sharing the outcome with the Directorate for the moment. Things are already in motion that this would only derail. Speaking of which, it's time for you to become more involved in the future of the Institute. I'd like you to join me inside. I'll be waiting. I've seen enough. It's time to go back in.
From what I hear, that rogue synth at Libertalia is a real menace. Glad it's back where it belongs.
If you require maintenance, please file a report with the Facilities Division.
Let's get this Directorate meeting over with before we speak further. It's important.
Son.
Let's get this Directorate meeting over with before we speak further. It's It's important. Good, we're all here. I think it's time we begin.
Sir, excuse me, but what exactly is he doing here?
I will address that issue. But there are other subjects that require our attention first. The level of unrest in the Commonwealth continues to rise, as we're all aware. Your report.
All Institute facilities remain completely secure with the exception of one notable breach. Otherwise, internally things are as tight as they've ever been. Dr. Ao has been keeping an eye on things topside.
Yes, Watchers show no additional threats beyond those previously identified. We're still monitoring the increased activity around Fort Independence, but there are no immediate signs we should be concerned. Boston International Airport remains occupied, with Brotherhood presence noted at several other points throughout the Commonwealth. Intelligence suggests that this railroad continues to operate and is becoming more ambitious. SRB agents are monitoring all known situations, sir.
Very good, thank you. It's clear that our safety needs to be the primary concern going forward. To that end, where are we on Phase 3?
Excuse me, but sir, are you sure this is, well, the proper time to be discussing that? Considering, given all parties present?
Ah, yes, that's true. Have you heard anything about Phase 3?
I have no idea what that is.
I'll admit I'm relieved. It's intended to be something of a classified project, which I'm sure means everyone already knows about it. Power is, as I'm sure you've seen above ground, a very valuable commodity. I'm not talking about some abstract concept of control. I mean real, tangible power. The kind that keeps the lights on. With every advance the Institute makes, our need for raw power increases. Many compromises and sacrifices have been made over the years to allow progress to continue.
Compromises for the weak.
That is one perspective, yes. But I think we can agree that going forward, no one can consider us weak. Phase 3 is simply the activation of a nuclear reactor that can provide enough power to the Institute now and forever. It will ensure not just our survival, but our prosperity.
I'm not sure what this means.
You'll see in time. I promise you that. The reactor is close to ready, but recent tests have determined we have a few tasks ahead of us. Thus, we come to Phase 3, and to how you will help.
Sir.
Yes, Dr. Ao. Previously, we would rely on Kellogg for above-ground operations, yes? Well, he is gone. While I'm not overly fond of putting my own father in harm's way, he has proven more than capable of handling himself.
Yes, but...
This is not a matter for debate. Now, there is one more subject that requires discussion.
I don't know that this is the time.
Dr. Holdren, it is time. Please. As I'm sure several of you are already aware, I have been under Dr. Volkert's care for some time. I'm sorry, this is difficult for me. Our best efforts have failed. Every experimental treatment we could devise has been unsuccessful. I'm sorry to say I am dying.
No!
Can't be
Please,
serious!
everyone, please. I am sorry. This is not how I wanted to tell you, but we're running out of time.
You're dying?
I'm afraid so. A very aggressive form of cancer. Believe me when I say we've done everything we can. We can talk more later. Right now, the future of the Institute is at stake. The Institute cannot survive without leadership. The Directorate must continue to govern with the best interest of all in mind. To that end, I am naming my father as my successor.
Oh, boy.
You can't be serious!
Really?
How can you possibly justify this? He isn't one of us. He isn't even a scientist.
Ignoring your borderline insubordinate tone, I will simply say this. The Institute has enough scientists. What it needs is a leader. I believe my father has already proven himself more than capable in that regard. This will conclude this meeting. Thank you.
Dr. Carlin's doing some amazing things with our genetically engineered crops.
The Institute's a big place. It might take a while to learn where everything is.
I had no idea.
I know this is... well, it's a lot to take in at once. I'm sorry, Father. I hope it wasn't too presumptuous of me to put you in charge without even asking first.
I can do the job.
Of course you can. That's why I made the decision. There's no question that some of the Directorate and the Institute at large will need reassurances about your appointment. That's why I'd like you to take charge of this latest operation. Dr. Fillmore can fill you in on the details. There are hard decisions ahead for all of us, but for you especially. I know that you'll do the right thing.
Unit X688 speaks highly of your combat skills.
Busy day for you, isn't it? Well, it's about to get busier. You're going to lead this operation, I'm told.
I need some details here. I have no idea what I'm getting into.
Of course, that's why we're talking. Otherwise, you'd be up top already. Recent events have upset our timetable. Getting the reactor online has become our #1 priority. It needs to be running, well, yesterday. We're going to have to cut some corners. I'm not thrilled, but it means we'll need to rely on some pre-war tech. You're going to the mass fusion building to acquire a beryllium agitator for us.
Oh man, I have one of those, but it's in my other pants.
You wouldn't recognize one if it fell on your head. That's why I'm going to retrieve it.
Sounds good. I'd appreciate the company.
Not as much as I'd appreciate coming back in one piece. I don't like going above ground unless there's no other option. But here we are, with our options dwindling quickly. Not to put more pressure on you, but we have to move quickly on this. Word is that the Brotherhood is nosing around the area. We don't want them getting the agitator before we do. Head on up to the relay, and I'll meet you there.
technological or social. That is all.
Proctor Ingram.
You look like you've been through the ringer, Paladin. Can't say that I blame you. That was a hell of a business with Dance. Can't even imagine having to look him in the face and pull the trigger.
If we're going to defeat the Institute, we can't allow personal feelings to interfere with our mission.
Spoken like a true disciple of Maxon. Anyway, we need to move on to more important things now. Like getting Liberty Prime off of life support. We've been feeding him power through the Prydwen's engines, but there isn't nearly enough juice to cold start his fusion reactor. That's why we need you to find us a beryllium agitator.
Turning out to be quite a grocery list to get that hunk of junk running.
Hey, I was handed a crate full of burned-out spare parts with no blueprints, and I still managed to get the big guy put back together. If we find this last piece, I promise you he'll be combat ready in a matter of hours. Quinlan dug up some dirt on a company called Mass Fusion. They were a power utility company before the world went belly up. The CEO was some kind of an inventor. Dreamed up all sorts of nuclear power toys. The agitator was his crown jewel. Records show he was working on it in his lab at the top of their high-rise in the financial district. That's where we're headed. Hope you don't mind a little company, because I'm coming with you.
Why would you want to go?
Are you kidding me? Mass fusion was on the cutting edge of atomic technology. And considering there hasn't been much in the way of engineering advancements lately, that makes it a goddamn gold mine. I'm not gonna miss an opportunity like that.
It would be helpful if you tagged along.
I knew you'd see it my way. Kells has a vertibird on standby waiting to drop us off on the roof of the Mass Fusion Tower. Grab whatever gear you need and meet me on the flight deck. But don't take too long. If the Institute finds out the agitator's there, they'll do everything they can to keep it out of our hands.
How could you have been so close to powerful Dance and not know he was a Sith?
I don't know much about that beryllium agitator thing. That's above my pay grade.
Roger that, Scabbard. You might want to hang on, sir. The drop can be a little rough.
Never could get used to flying in these things.
Need to find the
Getting
card.
down that way. Looks like the elevator needs some kind of a key card. Agitator anywhere. It must have been moved. Let's check out that terminal over there.
Security's too good. Security's too tight. Ingram?
This building's a mess. I hope the agitator's still here. Amazing that this tower's still standing. Hope it stays that way while we're here. This place has seen better days, that's for sure.
Hacking this is beyond me. Can't...
This is Captain Mitch Dunleavy, 132nd Engineering Corps at Sentinel Site Prescott.
Won't be able to hack this. No way I'm...
This is Captain Mitch Dunleavy, 132nd Engineering Corps at Sentinel Site Prescott.
Can't break the code.
Keycard, eh? Bet that's gonna come in handy.
Going down.
Proctor.
Let's keep moving. We've got a lot of building to cover. I could spend years looking at the tech in this place. We've still got work to do. Threat neutralized. Damn it! They've knocked out the power to the elevators!
Attacking enemy.
Might not be as cushy as an elevator ride, but at least we'll be headed in the right direction.
Hostile sensor reading detected.
Someone present. Sustained. Assessing damage. Movement detected.
Why are you hiding?
Sensors indicating concealed organic life form.
You must die now, human. are still there. They were wise. Truthfully hostile sensor reading detected. You must be terminated. Combat Silver G.